Hi there, and welcome to The Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. And today we're gonna make a green curry chicken. This is one of my favorite curries, and I've never made it at home before. I always used to go out to a Thai restaurant in Maryland, and oh, they had the best green curry. And I tried to make it a few times, and it just didn't quite pack the flavor that theirs did. So I've kept trying and I finally got it right. Or at least it's as close as I can get it with the ingredients I can find here locally. So I'm gonna go over those in just a minute, but the first thing we need to do is start to reduce down our coconut milk. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the Ninja Foodi. We're gonna turn on the sear saute, high is what we want for now. And this is 1 can of coconut milk, so it's 1 3/4 cup. And it has it's not the kind in the dairy section, the coconut milk that's real thin. This has the cream with it. So it's the coconut milk that you can find usually in the international food section of your grocery store. So 1 can. All right, that's good. And we're gonna go ahead and cook this over high heat, stirring frequently until it reduces down and becomes thick. So we're gonna get rid of some of the water that's in there. Well, the coconut water, I guess you would say. And then we're gonna fry off our green curry paste. So what I have for the green curry paste that I'm using is the only one I can find locally, and it's by Thai Kitchen. But we're gonna add some extra ingredients to kind of bump up the flavor. I think that was my mistake when I first started trying to make this a couple years ago, is I didn't add enough extra flavor. So we've got that covered this time. So as soon as this reduces down, we will add in the green curry and we will start to kind of fry that off a little bit, and then we'll add in our other ingredients and go under pressure. So let me talk about the chicken. I'm using chicken breast. You could use thigh meat too. Thigh meat is very forgiving, so it tends not to get overcooked and it doesn't become dry. But I've had really good luck with chicken breast that I'm slicing thinly. Now, one trick that you can do, which I did not do today, but I do sometimes, is you can put your chicken breast in the freezer for about 30 to 40 minutes, and it makes it a little bit easier to slice thin. But we have 2 pounds of it total, and I have most of it already cut up. I saved one so I can show you how I do it. Now, there's tons of different ways that you can do this, okay? But what I like to do is I've already trimmed this up, and now I'm gonna cut it in half here. And I can see the grain going this way, and I want to cut across that. So I'm going to start on this side here. So just take a look to see how the grain's going. You want to go across that for the most tender chicken. That goes for steak as well. And then I take my knife at an angle here, and I just slice thin strips, okay? And they'll get wider as you go. So, see? And we just keep doing that. Perfect. They're about 1/4 of an inch thick. That's what I try to aim for. Okay, so the coconut milk is starting to boil. Now we want to go ahead and stir it. And what I like to do when I'm reducing some sort of a sauce that's going to become thicker is I just scrape along the bottom and I make a note to myself of how quick it comes back together. And that's just an easy way to judge when it's going to be thick enough. Now, we don't need to take this all the way down to like a paste or anything. Okay, we're gonna let that keep going. Meanwhile, I will talk about the other ingredients that we're gonna add in. I've already talked about the green curry paste. I have 1 can of bamboo shoots that, I think they're a 5-ounce can that I drained, so I have that. 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. 1 tablespoon of fish sauce, which I really do encourage you to use, but it's not an absolute necessity. If you don't use the fish sauce, you might need to adjust a little bit of salt or something like that. 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar or palm sugar works fine. In a pinch, you could use brown sugar or white sugar. This is 2 tablespoons. You might want to start off with 1 tablespoon if you're using a different kind of sugar. Keep an eye on your coconut milk because we do not want to scorch it. I have 20 basil leaves, and these are just regular sweet basil. Ordinarily, I would use a Thai basil in this recipe, but I didn't have any. And I have plenty of sweet basil, and I'm going to use it, and it's going to be just fine. So I have 20 leaves. We're going to use half at the beginning, and we're going to stir half in at the end. I have about 1 inch of ginger that I slice thinly. That's the way that I like to put it in, but you could also finely grate it. Just about 1 inch is good. I'm gonna put in a little bit of lemongrass, which I always get in this little tube. It makes it super easy. It's absolutely delicious. You can find it in the herb section of your grocery store in the produce section where the herbs are. And most grocery stores carry it. It's really wonderful stuff. All right, we're gonna cut up 2 onions, and they're really easy to cut up for this dish. I'll show you that in just a minute. And I have 1 eggplant that I'm gonna use. You could use zucchini, you could use eggplant, you could skip that, that's fine. You could put in snow peas instead. You could put in whatever you want. I'm just using some just basic ingredients, and eggplant was always in the Thai curry that I had at the restaurant, so that's what I'm gonna use. And then I've got some assorted peppers. I've got 2 green and 3 red. I don't know if I'll use them all or not, but usually I use at least 2 of the red and 2 of the green. But that depends on what kind of spice you like. So if you don't want your curry really spicy, then don't add any of them in, okay? And then we're also gonna put in 4 small mini peppers. So the red peppers that I'm using are these little mini red peppers, but you could use 1 full red pepper. That would be fine as well. I'll cut these up in just a minute. All right, so our cream has really thickened now. You can see that. I'm gonna go ahead and add in the ginger and the curry paste. That is 2.5 tablespoons of the green curry paste. And just mix that in and just go about 3 minutes. This is when it really starts to smell so good. All right, that's good. So now we're gonna go ahead and add in our 1 cup of chicken stock. This is to deglaze the bottom. So just in case any of that coconut milk or anything kind of burned to the bottom, which it didn't, but we'll put that in. We're gonna add in our 1 tablespoon of the coconut oil. And now we just start dumping in ingredients. Just let that go there. All right, let's go ahead and put in our sugar, our fish sauce, the basil I'm gonna chop up. All right, start with that, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat down a little bit. I'm gonna take this down to medium. All right, so let's get our basil chopped up. I'm gonna take about 10 leaves or half of what's in here, and I'm just gonna chop it kind of roughly. No certain way to do it, it's fine. I'm just gonna bunch them all together so it makes it a little bit easier. That looks good. Get that in. All right, so let's get in our green peppers. And I'm putting the seeds in, and I just dice them up like that. These are not that spicy, but again, use your judgment, what you like to use. So I'm gonna use 2 of those or 1 of those and 2 of these. I like my food a little bit on the spicy side, so. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna add this. gonna live a little dangerously. Let's get the red peppers in. Not worried about the seeds in these either. Just throwing them in there. All right, I'm gonna get the onion in. And like I said, this is a really easy way to cut an onion. Take off both ends, cut it in half. I peel the paper off. And then I simply slice it this way. Okay, so we get some big pieces in there. That's how I like it. Throw those in the pots. So I think that's all I'm going to do. 1.5 onions because I had a really big one. So use your judgment on that. It makes no difference. All right, let's get in our lemongrass. I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon of the lemongrass. And then get the eggplant cut up. I usually do that last, just because the eggplant, I want to try to maintain a little bit of texture if I can. Since we're going under pressure, it could start to get a little bit soft on us. So I'll just cut off the ends. Cut it down the middle. All right, so you want your chunks on the large side. So these are about, I would say, 2.5 inches or so. And I keep them on the large side because they will shrink down quite a bit. And also, that helps to keep a little bit more texture in them. All right. I'll stir that all in. And now we get our chicken in. All right, so with the chicken, I'm just gonna put a little bit of salt in the chicken. Not too much, probably about, I don't know, 1/2 teaspoon or so. All right, dump that in. We're gonna get the rack in and then we're gonna go under pressure. Smells so good already. All right, that looks good. All right, so the reason we're gonna put the rack in is because I'm gonna do some rice on top, and that's optional, of course. You don't have to, but I am going to, so we can serve it right away with our rice. So you wanna nestle the rack down in, make sure it hits the bottom. And then the other thing with the rice in the pan, I'm using a 6-inch Fat Daddy-O pan, and I like to keep it towards the front of the pot so that we make sure it does not impede the sealing process in the back. And I have 1 cup of well-rinsed jasmine rice. I'm gonna add 1 cup of water to that. And I'm gonna leave it uncovered. The reason why I'm leaving it uncovered, and sometimes I leave it uncovered, sometimes I cover it. The reason I'm uncovering is because we're only going under pressure for 0 minutes. Now the pot's pretty full, so it is gonna take a little bit of time to come up to pressure. And that is cook time. So the time to pressure is cook time, and it is enough time for this dish to finish. But because that won't be quite enough time for the rice to finish, I'm gonna leave it uncovered, and then we're gonna do an 8-minute natural release, which will bring the temperature down the pot, but it will still be sealed and it will have a lot of steam and finish cooking that rice, okay? All right, so we're gonna select pressure, high is what we want, and you wanna go to 0. All right, so I'm gonna clean up here. We only have 2 ingredients to go in at the end. That is the bamboo shoots and the rest of the basil. I like to add those at the end because these add a really, really nice texture. And I haven't pressure cooked with them before, so I'm not sure if they would soften too much. So I just stir them in at the end. They're absolutely delicious. All right, so it took 10 minutes for the pin in the back to pop up and then another 3 minutes for the countdown to start. So that's a total time to pressure of 13 minutes. We pressure cooked for 0 minutes and then we did an 8-minute natural release and it took about 1.5 minutes to let that pressure out. Now we're gonna go ahead and open this up. We're gonna take the rice off. We wanna get that fluffed and covered. Looks good. Oh, that's perfect. I really like doing rice pot and pot versus right in the main pot. I just find it to be more consistent and pretty forgiving with your time. So you can really change the times quite a bit to accommodate for whatever else you're cooking. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that over there, leave it covered, take the tray out here, or the rack. All right, it looks good and it smells even better. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put in the bamboo shoots. What I did with the tongs right there is I broke up the chicken a little bit. There was a few places where it had clumped together, so I just broke those pieces up. Just wanted to make sure that they were completely cooked, and they are. And now I'm just going to roughly chop up, well, break up actually, the basil and throw that in. I like to add the fresh basil at the end as well as in the beginning, because at the end it will just give this really, really vibrant, beautiful color and also maintain its freshness. So it's just really, really delicious. I love basil. It smells so good. All right, there we go. And let's go ahead and stir this in just a little bit. Now, green curry is on the thinner side, so don't worry that your sauce is thin. That is by design. And this one is not as green as it has been in the past. And you know, the difference is that I added eggplant. The last 2 tests, I just thought of this. The last 2 tests that I did, I used eggplant. The first test, I didn't have any, so I did not use eggplant. I used zucchini. And I bet that's the difference. So if you want a greener curry, use zucchini or something like that, or just omit that, or add the eggplant, like maybe saute it up a little bit and then add it in at the end. Because I think that purplish skin probably muddied up the colors, because it was this gorgeous green the first time I made it, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't the second time, but now I think I figured it out. All right, so let's go ahead and serve it up. This rice looks perfect. Now we're about to find out, did I overspice it? I may have. These are peppers from my garden, and oh my gosh, they're pretty potent, so we shall see. All right, get a nice scoop of this. Oh, it just looks beautiful. Oh my goodness. I just wish it was a little greener, but anyway, taste matters, right? All right, I'm gonna get a piece of chicken here, make sure that that is nice and tender and not chewy. That is so good. Bamboo shoot. And it's not too spicy. Honestly, I probably could have added in another pepper and just been fine with it. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Oh, let me check an eggplant. Eggplant, you know, tends to get soft. I would prefer it if it stayed a little bit, had a little bit more texture, but if you want to do it under pressure, you know, you've got to kind of give here and there some, right? Okay. You know, it actually does have texture, though. It looked really soft, but it isn't. I mean, I can even actually taste the eggplant flavor. So yeah, I am really happy with this. I hope you enjoy it. So when you want to make some green curry chicken at home, you can follow these easy steps, make some right in the pressure cooker, and you'll feel like you're eating Thai takeout.